Once upon a time, nestled between rolling green hills and sparkling streams, there was a cheerful little village. And in this village lived a brother and sister named Jack and Jill. They were known throughout the village for their bright smiles and even brighter spirits. Jack, with his mop of curly brown hair, was always ready for an adventure. Jill, with her pigtails that bounced when she laughed, was his trusty sidekick. They lived in a cozy little cottage at the very bottom of a very big hill. At the very top of this hill was a special well, known for having the freshest, clearest, and most delicious water in the whole land. One sunny morning, their mother called out from the kitchen, "Jack, Jill, the water pail is empty. Would you to be my little helpers and fetch some water from the well up the hill?" "Of course, Mother," they shouted in unison. It was their favorite chore, because it wasn't just a chore, it was an adventure. Jack grabbed the big wooden pail, which was almost as big as he was. "I'll carry it up, Jill," he declared proudly. Jill giggled. "Okay, Jack, but I'll help you carry it down when it's full and heavy." So, with the empty pail swinging between them, they set off. The path up the hill was winding and a little steep, but Jack and Jill didn't mind. They hopped and skipped, chasing butterflies that fluttered past. They pointed out funny-shaped clouds in the big blue sky. One looked like a fluffy sheep, and another looked just like their neighbor's cat, Whiskers. "Look, Jack!" Jill exclaimed, pointing to a family of robins in a nearby tree. "They're singing to us." Jack stopped and listened. "They're cheering us on," he said with a grin. "They know we're on a very important mission for the best water in the world." They continued their climb, their laughter echoing through the fresh morning air. The higher they went, the more beautiful the view became. They could see their whole village spread out below them, with tiny houses and winding roads. They waved down to the baker, who was just opening his shop, the scent of fresh bread wafting up the hill. Finally, they reached the top. "We made it," cheered Jill, a little out of breath. The well was old and made of smooth, gray stones covered in soft green moss. It had a sturdy wooden crank and a long rope. Jack, feeling very strong, grabbed the handle. "All right, stand back, Jill. This is a job for a super strong hill climber." He began to turn the crank. Round and round it went. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The rope slowly lowered the pail deep into the cool, dark well. After a moment, they heard a distant asterisk kerplunk asterisk. "It's in the water," Jack announced. He waited a few seconds for the pail to fill up completely. Then he began to crank it back up. This part was harder. His muscles strained as he pulled the heavy, water-filled pail towards the surface. "Need some help?" Jill offered. "I've got it," Jack grunted, his face turning a little red with effort. With one final heave, the pail appeared over the edge of the well, brimming with crystal-clear water. Sunlight sparkled on its surface like 1,000 tiny diamonds. "Wow," whispered Jill. "It looks so fresh." Jack proudly unhooked the pail. "See? The best water in the world, just like I said." Now came the tricky part, getting the pail down the hill without spilling a single drop. "Okay, Jill," Jack said, wiping his brow. "Your turn to help. Let's carry it together." They each took a side of the heavy wooden handle. Very slowly and very carefully, they started their journey back down the hill. "Easy does it," Jack whispered, his eyes fixed on the sloshing water. "Walk slowly," Jill added, taking tiny, careful steps. For the first part of the descent, everything went perfectly. They were a great team. They navigated around small rocks and patches of wild flowers. They were so focused on the pail that they almost didn't notice a small, round stone that had rolled right into the middle of their path. Jack, leading the way, didn't see it. His foot came down right on top of the wobbly stone. Ho! He yelped, losing his balance. He stumbled forward, trying to regain his footing, but the weight of the heavy pail pulled him off balance. Down he tumbled, rolling head over heels like a spinning top. The pail flew from his grasp, sending a great splash of water into the air before it clattered down the hill after him. "Jack!" cried Jill. Seeing her brother tumble, she rushed forward to help him. But in her haste, her feet got tangled, and she came tumbling after. She rolled and bounced down the grassy slope, landing in a patch of soft daisies right next to Jack. At the bottom of the hill, they lay there for a moment, dizzy and surprised. Jack had a little bump on his head, and Jill had a small scrape on her knee. A little bird landed on a branch above them and chirped, as if to ask, "Are you all right?" Jack sat up and rubbed his head. He saw the empty pail lying on its side nearby. "Oh no!" he groaned. "The water! It's all gone!" Jill sat up and looked at her scraped knee. A little tear welled up in her eye. Seeing his sister was upset, Jack forgot all about his own bump. He scooted over to her. "Don't cry, Jill. It's just a little scrape. We're okay." "That was a bigger tumble than I expected." Jill wiped her tear away and managed a small giggle. "You looked funny rolling down the hill, Jack." "You did too." He laughed. Just then, their mother, who had heard the commotion, came rushing out of the cottage. "Jack, Jill, what happened?" They explained the whole story: the wobbly stone, the big tumble, and the spilled water. Their mother hugged them both tightly. "Oh, my dear children, the water doesn't matter. What matters is that you're both safe." She took them inside and gently cleaned Jill's scrape, placing a colorful bandage on it. Then she got a piece of brown paper and a little vinegar, an old-fashioned remedy for bumps and bruises. She soaked the paper and carefully placed it on the bump on Jack's head. It felt cool and soothing. "There now," she said softly. "All better." Jack looked at Jill, who was admiring her new bandage. "I'm sorry we lost the water, Mother." She smiled warmly. "Don't you worry about that. The important thing is that you helped each other. When you fell, Jack, your first thought was to comfort your sister. And Jill, you rushed to help your brother. That's what being a family is all about." Feeling much better, Jack and Jill sat at the kitchen table. Their mother brought them each a glass of juice and a freshly baked cookie. After a little while, Jack stood up. "Come on, Jill," he said with renewed determination. "Let's try again." "Really?" asked Jill, her eyes wide. "Yes, but this time," Jack said with a grin, "we'll watch out for wobbly stones. And we'll hold the handle extra tight." Their mother watched them with a proud smile as they picked up the empty pail once more and headed back toward the hill. This time, they walked even more carefully, their adventure having taught them a valuable lesson. They still chased a butterfly or two, but they kept a close eye on the path. They filled the pail at the well, and on the way down, they worked together, warning each other of any tricky spots. "Careful, Jack, a slippery patch of moss here," Jill would say. "Watch your step, Jill, there's a little root there," Jack would reply. And so, Jack and Jill finally made it to the bottom of the hill, their pail still full of the freshest, clearest, and most delicious water in the whole land. They had fallen, but they had gotten back up. They had failed, but they had tried again. And most importantly, they had done it all together. And that made the water taste even sweeter. Thank you so much for joining us for this story. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If you enjoyed our little adventure, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fun stories and songs. We can't wait to see you again next time. Bye for now.